So Webtoon updated their comic thumbnailing system. I'm going to show you how to create thumbnails for both the square and vertical layout, and I created a template file that you're going to be able to use to help guide you along the process. Hey, Walter here, and today I'll be explaining Webtoon's new thumbnail system. The first change is that there are now two thumbnails, a square one and a vertical one. You'll have to create two different image files. In my example, I'm going to be repurposing art from my graphic novel print cover. It's what I had used for my original thumbnail as well, but you can just draw a whole new image using the template file I created. The link to the file is in the video description. Now, I'm a fan of reusing art for thumbnails because I drew this cover. I can use it for a whole bunch of different things, but if I were to just draw an image specifically for the thumbnail, there's not too much I could reuse that for. So I'm gonna just start, and I'm gonna use the marquee or the box select tool to select a large part of the original cover that I think would work for a vertical layout. Now copy that and paste it into the template file. Side note, when you download the template, you're gonna notice that there are two copies of each thumbnail type, a standard and an original art one. If you're drawing an original piece of art for your thumbnail, use the original art version. It's higher resolution, just in case you ever do wanna reuse that art for something else. If you're reusing old art, then just use the standard file. You don't need print resolution thumbnails because your original art is the print resolution copy. Now, when you paste your art or you draw your art, make sure you do it on a layer below the zone marker layer. The shadow area is the danger zone. Anything in this zone may be covered or cropped out when displayed to the reader on the Webtoon platform. The reasons it may be cropped out is because the reader's display size or because other information is being displayed, like your sub or your like counts. Example, you wouldn't want to draw a thumbnail where the character's face was down here and this area up here was just empty blue sky. So paste your art or draw your art and get it positioned with the important stuff in the safe zone, the non-shadowed area. Depending on your image, you may have to resize or maybe go back to your original image and make a different selection size to get it just right. You can also lower the layer opacity of the danger zone area if it's too dark, or just turn it off once you've got your image laid out the way you want for your original drawing. One thing about thumbnails, it can look kind of weird sometimes if you chop the head right off at the neck, so it's always good to include a little bit of shoulders in your head images. And remember to pay attention to what parts of the image are in the danger zone. Couple of quick all-around pointers for your thumbnails. Keep your thumbnails simple. Limit them to a single character, head, or bust shot. 2 characters is okay, but anything more than that, it's going to start getting crowded and you'll most likely be shrinking your art so you can fit other stuff in there. This will make it harder to see and less likely to catch a reader's eye. You want your thumbnail to be able to give a quick sense of your main character, the genre, and the style of your artwork in a single glance. Once you have the image the way you want, save it as a new file so you don't overwrite the template file. Turn off the zone marker layer and then export your image as a JPEG. If you use the original art template, you'll have one extra step. You'll have to shrink your export file to the appropriate size. 1080 by 1080 for the square template and 1080 by 920 for the vertical template. In Clip Studio, go to File, Export Single Layer and JPEG, pick a name and then specify the output size 1080 by 1080 or 1080 by 1920, depending on the thumbnail that you're doing. If you're using Photoshop, you can use File, Save for Web and Devices to change the size there. Metabang also has an export. However, if you're using Krita, it doesn't seem to let you export at a different size. So in Krita, you'll have to go to Image, click Scale Image to New Size and change it there before you save it. Be aware this will alter your work file, so don't hit save. Only use Save As or Export, or you're gonna lose that high resolution print quality that you have. Now, once you export, you may have a problem with your file being too large for Webtoon. They want some really small files. All you have to do is re-export your image, but this time lower the quality. I know this may worry some of you, but lowering this down to 90% or 85% won't make a visible difference. I lowered the quality all the way down to 83 to shrink my file from 3000 to 700 kilobytes for the Webtoon requirement. And this is the full quality versus the lower quality, and I don't see a difference, so don't worry about lowering this quality metric. If you don't have this option with the software that you're using for some reason, go to compressedjpeg.com and upload your file for similar results. This gave me almost a 600 kilobyte file, and I still don't see any difference. A quick PSA about file resolution, by the way. I get a lot of questions about why art resolution looks like poo when they shrink their image down for Webtoon. Usually it's because there's a misunderstanding about what's actually happening with your pixels. A lot of people will shrink a file and zoom in to check to see the quality of the resolution. However, they are zooming in over 100%, and whenever you zoom in over 100%, it's gonna look like poo. If you make an image that's 50,000 pixels by 50,000 pixels at 2400 DPI, zoom in at over 100%, it's gonna look pixelated. It just takes you more zooming clicks to get into over 100% for a file that large versus a file that's 100 pixels wide versus the 50,000 pixels wide. If you have a 100 pixel wide image, you're already zoomed in at 100% right when you open the file, so if you zoom at all, it's gonna look pixelated. Going over 100% is trying to access more data than the file has, so the software is making that data up with a best guess, which is where you get the pixelation from. By the way, if you're talking about pixels, 800 pixels by 1280 pixels, DPI is meaningless. If you want to talk about inches, like 3 inches by 4 inches, now DPI is important and you want at least 300 DPI, but I'll do another video about resolution and DPI some other day. Once you have your files, just go to Webtoon, go to your dashboard, edit your comic, and upload your thumbnails and click save. If you use my template file, I only created a Clip Studio and Photoshop file. However, pretty much every art program is going to open a Photoshop file, so I figured that is kind of like the universal file type. Krita, Metabang, both of those can open up Photoshop files fine, and that's it. If you like this video, be sure to like, link, love, hug, and hit that sub button for more sweet, sweet goodness. I hope you're feeling good about what you're creating, but if you're not, that's normal and it's okay, and it doesn't mean you suck. Catch you in the next video. Peace!